Good evening and welcome here to Simple Scotch Reviews. It's definitely been longer than I'd like since my last review, so I decided to do a quick hitter review just to get a review out there because it had been so long. Life catches up. So here we have a very interesting one. Gotta see what the whiskey is. Very interesting whiskey that I am looking forward to sampling. Well, as you can see, I have spent a little bit of time with it. We have Johnnie Walker High Rye. So this is a concept I found intriguing. There's some whiskeys out there, Scotch, single malt. This isn't single malt, but there's some single malt Scotches out there that have experimented. I think Glenmorangie Speos is one that has experimented with finishing in rye casks. This is actually rye in the whiskey, so I was definitely looking forward to sampling a little bit of this. So it is a blended Scotch whiskey, and the ABV on it is 45%, and it does note that it contains barley, rye, and wheat with a high percentage of rye, I'm assuming. I mean, I don't know, it's not like a rye whiskey in America, so I assume that it's 50+% rye, I would think. I thought I read somewhere it was like 65%. Who knows? You can look that up, see if that is correct. And it just talks about the different distilleries that go into Johnnie Walker on the back. So right away on the nose, it is subdued. There's a bit of citrus for the fruit. You definitely get the rye notes, like a rye whiskey. And there's also a kind of dusty, grainy note to it. So on the palate, you definitely get the rye spice. I'm just going to put that out there. It's a rye whiskey, so rye. You do get from single malt, some of those malty characteristics with the grain. There's definitely some fruit there. Let me try to put a little bit to that fruit. So what hits in immediately for me is a little pinch of citrus, some lemon, but then that quickly fades out and you get a little more fruit, but also the rye spice. And the additional fruit, I'm going to put down apple as that fruit for the second wave, and rye spice, a bit of simple syrup sweetness in there, not really vanilla or anything like that, just simple syrup sweetness for me. The finish, it lingers a bit. The rye spice does linger too, which is nice. As someone who's had rye whiskeys that I enjoy and Scotch, I really wanted to try this as a kind of crossover experience, which, TV shows do crossovers if you have your favorite TV series, and sometimes, or if you have two favorites and they do a crossover together and it's terrible. So I was hoping that was not what was going to happen here, and it certainly didn't. So one of the distilleries that is used in this whiskey is Glenkinchie, and they also use Cardew. And those two distilleries I distinctly do get in here, more so the Glenkinchie. Mostly for me because Glenkinchie has a bit of that graininess, but it also has lemon. Specifically to me, I get it in Glenkinchie whiskeys, especially Glenkinchie 12. And I get that hint of lemon, so that made me think, hey, Glenkinchie, and it says on there's some Glenkinchie. So hopefully this review helps. You get rye, bit of fruit, bit of sweetness. One thing I will note is, again, it's 45% ABV. And if I pulled down off the shelf some 45% ABV American rye whiskey, I just get so much more alcohol presence from the American whiskeys. Like, same proof, there's so much more alcohol presence in the American ones. And I don't think this is necessarily a well-aged by any sort of the imagination whiskey. So despite being youthful, just putting that out there, that if you're a rye whiskey fan that wants to try this to get into Scotch, I don't think this is a good way for someone who likes rye whiskey to mold into the Scotch world, because again, it has rye, and I just don't think it's a good representation of Scotch from that regard. So I definitely wouldn't do that. But for others, I think it's an interesting experiment if you, especially like me, if you like both. Hopefully this review helps. And again, with this price point, maybe a little more, a little less where you are, it's a bottom shelf price point. And I don't think for that you're going to be disappointed. Because even if it's meh, it's still good enough for that price point. So cheers, enjoy your whiskey, and thanks for watching.